plan is in the making, we are pursuing aggressive reinforcement and expansion of the transmission distribution infrastructure within the countries. And in the external front, our active and constructive engagements with the bilateral mechanisms with India, Bangladesh and China, we see activities under these as solid foundation in operationalizing connectivity and trade. Again, internally, the NEA is looking at forming a province-wide distribution companies in order to support internal electricity marketing and also following the envisaged generation mix in the system. While on the external front again, in the long run, to cite some few, backstopping against the non-payment by the off-taker, sharing of hydrological risks and benefit, use of international standards on the environmental and social sustainability, protection from changing law, parallel compensatory mechanism in case of event of default, project handover mechanism and transfer price determinations. Now, in case of investment opportunities in the public sector projects, the government through its agencies are conducting studies of the several hydropower projects, and that development of the storage projects are priority for us. So these are some of the projects that are being showcased, which is the information of these are also available. And in case of the private sector projects, the private sector sponsors have been studying and developing available at the different development levels for the prospective investors. These are some of the initiatives. In the recent past, the transmission company, generation company, power trading company within NEA, merger of irrigation and the water resources in the Ministry of Energy to form a Ministry of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation are some of the institutional arrangements that we have embarked upon. And with the constitution in place and embracing the overall governance of the country through federal, province and the local government, we are in the process of formulating the overarching Water Resources Policy and Act and the subsequent Water and the Electricity Act. Basin-wide hydropower development master plan is being updated or prepared by Water and Energy Commission Secretariat and the development of the electricity sector. To conclude, I'd just like to summarize by saying that the potential to harness water resources for hydroelectricity with the evolving electricity market, domestic and cross-border, and the positive reforms in our policy framework have created investment-friendly environment in the energy sector. We request you to consider the avenues for the investment that have been offered, and the Ministry is committed to extend all the necessary support and assistance. And for the further information, you can visit these 3 sites, the Ministry of Water Resources site, Department of Electricity Development, and the Office of Investment Board, Nepal. Thank you.
Okay. How Nepal government, there is no comparison of sun energy and any other energy. It's example, like Adon 3, we designed for 300 megawatt. See the market. Inside Nepal also, we are importing power from India. Any private in the vision of 50
and interstate transmission lines. We got comments, took a bit longer. We have got a robust PA. A hydro generating station in Nepal can connect directly through a dedicated transmission line to an Indian pooling station. They can be in Bhutan, Nepal, and Bangladesh, which are directly connected to some extent to even Myanmar and maybe even Pakistan. See, I mean, except for the monsoon season cost, what we have done is that we have notionally divided the time. 80% would be roughly 300 when they are available full energy. And
yeah, I studied in India. But the thing, especially in power sector, that's encouraging.
Come to Nepal is anything about Nepal in many more than 120 countries. So I know global situation. So what I want to say is, in coming years, I am Chinese technologist. I can give you some reasons. The first, Nepal, you have the best the hydropower resources, and also you are applying very important rule in the regional tree. And the third one is China. We have a huge capacity for investment, for technology, for will become the largest
installed capacity. And I can see more than 100 gigawatt under construction now. In China, almost all big power project is going to complete in next 10 years. After that, there will be no other big potential available for the construction. So for Chinese company, it can be the best country because they have resources, they have technology, they have turbine manufacturing units, they have contractors, very efficient contractor. So this country can be one very strong investment area. My question to you now, sir, Mr. Chong, South Asia, I said South Asia and China is almost same size. If you compare energy, water per capita, if you compare anything, like China, South Asia, much higher. So how hydropower can be used to get the benefit of, let's say, South Asia, the way China is getting, giving the water value, peak energy.
And for energy, that means there's a huge potential, huge market for for power. So that other countries. Power China is a partnership with some Japanese company and Qatar. And Qatar, Middle East companies. We decide to team up to invest hydropower in many other Chinese companies. They would like to team up with us.
And we urge all of you to come to Nepal. For the South Asian price is much higher than China, much higher than US, much higher than Canada, much higher than Brazil. Means once you get the best price, you have money. So I can see the potential to gain good for you. Even in Nepal, so how you see the global
brought quite a lot of things. Suraj Vaidyaji, Nepal is a mountain of opportunity. Mountain of opportunity. So this is one of the biggest opportunity. But one of the challenge which you have posed, we are at a time of significant change in global energy market. And the contribution of hydro and other clean energy is increasing. You know, the whole concept of, climate state of conventional sources of energy, such as coal, fossil fuels, this is actually recent global emission. Of the dam project, that means carbon
is multiple and which is
okay. Well, energy is the naval cord. If you see the discussion when it is 4,000 kilowatt hour per capita. So this will one. Also market and system and regional integration and cooperation mechanism. And the most significant step forward in the policy arena is energy banking, which is coming up now, which will be very important. Already mention. I don't want to go in detail about all these policies, but two fundamental milestones is another thing, frequency of the things which will enhance our implementation capacity, and these are some of the things which our policy in future will address. Of course, the policy, all the policy.
Hydropower in Nepal is not only helping Nepal or the neighbors, it's helping the globe. The chief engineer, Bangladesh Power Development Board.
2041 as a developed country. It's a very ambitious plan. Achieve the GDP growth rate, electricity is India. As per our
between these three countries,
sub-regional power trading also. So now we develop a 900 in Nepal. So out of this 900, we are going to buy 500 megawatt. And for this 500 megawatt, we are going to finalize the PPA that the party will be Bangladesh.
Being almost cut down during his tenure, now investigating 24 hours power. So it's a good chances for you to come to have the good power supply and put it that one.
And peaking runoff rivers, from 1 hour to 6 hours, different rates are there. And reservoir projects, we have different rates. So we have already devised the IRR-based return on equity of rates is not allowed, and downward price adjustment is there. If the return is above 17%, and we have two types of PPA association. I think Upper Mersangdi have Chinese.
For two type of project, PRO and storage, Nepali Electricity Authority is offering one of the best price as comparable to any other country. It's more than 10 cents in one sector for 6 months, and more than 12 cents in storage. I don't think any other country offering this price, because I check with Canada, even Canada not offering this price. I check with the US, I check with the China. I found that the price is much lower as compared to what any is offering, because the value for the storage power is much more higher for the region. And I can see sometime in India the power price is jumping to 21 rupees Indian currency. It's touching sometimes, because maybe
you are very correct in that sense. The power purchase is through, there is a cap of rupees 20. I mean, we think it may the prices might over the exchange. The rates that we see is, it would help rationalize our prices. Though these prices are not all over the day, all through the day, but in a few blocks, maybe 6 to 8 blocks. 8 blocks, I mean every block is 15-minute block. We do have huge prices. So yes, I mean if we have got enough hydro reserve through our neighboring countries, it would solve the problem.
yeah. I learned in China and Canada that more and more solar and wind is coming. You need more and more hydro to match this one. Otherwise, these two systems is never going side by side. It has to go together. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everybody, for that one. Now, I want to go to our Honorable Minister, Mr. Bersamaan Poon, for his valuable closing remarks. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished speakers, transformation. The title for this session has been coined by the organizers for two reasons. First, the present government's campaign for prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali cannot be economic transformation. In this region, large numbers of people are yet to have access to electricity. If properly correcting wide access to 100% of the population through a mix of grid and off-grid systems. In the meantime, we are implementing several transmission and distribution system reinforcement projects to be able to provide reliable electricity services to the people. In the next 10 years, we are planning to have about 10,000 megawatts for cross-border trading. These targets can to be of foreign origin. We are well aware of the risks perceived and problems faced by different players in the sector. We have been devising various mechanisms to manage those risks and ease the problems from time to time. I must tell you that we are keen on promoting the public-private partnership model in various forms. To this front, to unbundle the sole public utility in the sector, we have been successful in creating a generation company and a transmission grid company. 7 distribution companies are now legal instruments are already is placed for the formation of a regulator in the sector. The Electricity Regulation Commission will become functional very soon. We are committed to continue to reform the power sector and make sure that proper policy and legal instruments are in place. In essence, we are creating properly and swiftly. We are also making sure that the tax regime and concessions provided to project developers are attractive. Mr. Gautam has already given you an overview of these facilities. As you saw in the presentation, we have numerous potential hydropower projects in Nepal for the generation of power. The major constraints in most instances in capital investment required for project development. Equity investment which can be generated within Nepal is limited. So is the case for loan investment, as the amount of money Nepali banks can lend each year to the sector is inadequate for the development of larger projects. This clearly points to the need for foreign direct investment in the sector. Even in the People's Hydro Program, which I mentioned earlier, we will need to seek a substantial amount of debt for several projects in this program. A good part of this is expected to be of foreign origin. As most of you know, one of the basic policies of the government of Nepal is to promote private investment in the power sector. To that end, we have highly investor-friendly regulations which treat national and foreign parties at par. We have been successful to open up opportunities for access to power markets beyond our political borders. The power trade and transmission interconnection agreement with India and understandings reached with China as well as with Bangladesh for cooperation in the power sector have laid the foundation for cross-border electricity trade. These developments should give further confidence to prospective developers. As Mr. Gautam presented, a transmission master plan has been prepared with the involvement of the relevant authorities in India. 11 high voltage cross-border transmission lines between Nepal and India have been envisaged in this plan. The first line, namely Dhalkebar-Muzaffarpur line, is already operational, and we are now moving fast to develop a second line. You will appreciate the fact that we need to utilize the resource complementary available in the region. Our ultimate goal is to have a regional or sub-regional interconnection. That is why we are signatory to the SAARC Framework Agreement on Energy Cooperation and also party to the understanding reached for the establishment of the domestic grid interconnection. Eventually, such sub-regional or regional interconnections should help us to optimize our power systems and lower the operating costs. In fact, it is not just bilateral trade which will be facilitated by the cross-border lines. We can have trilateral or race in picking runoff river or reservoir projects must find good prospect for return on their investments. We are also welcoming solar energy projects with attractive power purchase rates. At the moment, we are formulating an integrated water resources policy, which will guide to overall development of water resources in Nepal. We have also begun to develop river basin plans and a hydropower development master plan for holistic development of the various potential water and power projects. To sum up, we are getting our debt financing for these projects will be substantial. As you know, one of the objectives of this summit is to showcase potential projects in the different sectors. As I said earlier, the government is moving ahead with ambitious targets in the power sector. In fact, our plans and programs are almost taking the shape of campaign for aggressively harnessing Nepal's hydropower resources. On behalf of my ministry and the government of Nepal, I urge you to be a part of this campaign in whatever way you can. I thank the distinguished panelists as well as members of the audience for your active participation in this session. I am sure that the insights shared by highly distinguished speakers as well as by members in the audience during this session will enable us to further reinforce our initiatives for reform in the power sector. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for very much encouraging for the investor. I think I can see the light in the investor's face after your speech, and you are the man of commitment. Once you say, I have seen everything you fulfill. I just want to share a small thing. Wrapping up session, I don't think we need wrapping up session because such an eminent panelist, I'm a layman, I'm a very young guy as compared to them and as per their experience. So I don't dare to wrap up the session. I just want to go little with 2 minutes. Like, I just want to add my experience with the people's participation in the hydropower in Nepal, because we have many friends from other countries, 39 countries, that last time I applied for 10,000 units of share for the government, people's hydropower. I'm going to get 20 maximum. Means the demand is so heavy. Means the government is going perfectly with not single second unit. They are going with a multiple unit, with a multiple, let's say, investor. Each and every Nepali, they want to make the investor in hydropower sector. That's really good of wealth distribution. So I really appreciate government for that, and I really appreciate ministry for that one. But I'm very sad I get only 20 shares, not more than that. I hope the next share offer will come very soon and we'll apply for that one. Next, Mr. Song, I have very bad experience in China. I was detained by your police for 1 hour because by mistake I went to 3 gauges inside during construction. When the 3 gauges project was under construction, some Chinese friend took me inside the 3 gauges and the further not allowed. Suddenly I found 10-20 police people came, they just caught me, they put me more than 10 times after that. You must go and see how the 3 gauges is doing with the water management, navigation, flood control. There are many bad news, but when I went, I've been there for 7 days together with the 3 gauges friends, and I can see 3 gauges is perfectly doing everything good like Tehri is doing in India. And there are multiple projects doing in these 2 countries. I think Nepal need to learn all these good things. So what we see now is that the earth is getting hot, the water is running low. So hydropower is the solution for everything. It's for food security, it's for peak power, it's for managing power with solar and wind together with India or with China, and it's for the regional benefit. It's not for the one country, it's for the regional benefit. With this, I want to close the session because we are running out of time. I was supposed to ask 2-3 questions, but we didn't have time because I'm getting pressure from my backside. So we just go with the MC program now. Thanks for everything. So let's appreciate our panelists.
Thank you indeed. Thank you, Mr. Malla, and thank you for this very distinguished panel, for this very enriching and effective deliberation. I'm sure we are taking away a lot of food for thought. However, if you have any queries, comments, we do have a short tea break in between the the other panel that is lined up after this tea break. Before we come and head towards closing the session, we have a very important formality to execute, and I have the pleasure of inviting the Secretary at the Ministry of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Ghimire, to kindly come up on stage as we want to, on behalf of us all, present this small souvenir to our distinguished dignitaries and panelists up on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, please Electricity Regulatory Commission, India.